Testing. Now we're up to take 3 of this video because, once again, the audio was clipping through the whole thing. So I'm going to try talking a little bit quieter, put the mic a bit further away, and we'll see how we go. So here we're looking at a Toyota hybrid transmission. This one's pulled out of a 2008 Prius, which makes it a Gen 2 Prius. Now, the reason why I've chosen the Gen 2 Prius transmission specifically is because the Gen 2 has the highest power output and torque output of all the 4 generations. So Gen 2 was 2003 to 2009, so right on the cusp of it. The newer generations, whilst being smaller, lighter and lower powered, though the fact that they're lighter and more efficient means that while you're getting a lower output, you're still getting the same output per revolution and stuff, because the newer stuff spins at a far higher revs than what these things can. So anyway, let's start talking about what actually makes this thing tick. So on the front here, you can see the input shaft that originally connected to the petrol motor, the ICE or ICE. So the ICE would connect to MG1 in this particular setup and would spin MG1, which would then charge the hybrid battery. And then the hybrid battery from there was used to power MG2, which is in the back. Now, doing away with the petrol motor obviously means that we need a different way to charge it, and so we just use a regular charging cable that plugs in. And there are actually now versions of the Prius that do plug in and that don't use MG1 or the ICE at all and can run off just MG2 limited. They're limited to 100 kilometers an hour in Europe and then 80 in Australia, I think, if you want to run on EV only, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So in terms of, I mentioned power and torque. So in terms of power and torque here, so MG1 is roughly 35 kilowatts and 150-ish Newton meters. It's really hard to find like power levels for these sorts of things. Toyota doesn't really publish this information publicly. I'm sure you can find it, but I just can't be bothered looking for all that stuff. And then MG2 at the back here is 50 kilowatts and 400 Newton meters. Now I'll have some performance numbers come up on the screen here comparing other high performance, low performance electric vehicles as well as regular cars, including my daily driver, the BF Ford Falcon. Now, during normal operation with this thing, the MG1 and MG2 aren't directly connected, while the gearing inside shows that they are connected in some way and that technically MG1 can contribute torque to MG2. They don't spin at the same speed, and so you can't get like a one-to-one power output. There's some gear ratios in there and a power split device is what they call it, that connects MG1 to MG2. Now, when we're operating both motors together for electric only operation, to achieve that, we need to replace one of the gears inside the transmission. You'll see here these 4 gears here, so they fit. Let's take that off. So these gears actually fit in there and they all turn together, and so this is the thing that connects MG1 and MG2 together. And so what we will be doing eventually is taking out each 4 of these little ones and actually locking it to this center shaft here, so they all spin together. Now, I'm not the creator of this gear and this system, and it's still being tested, so I'm not quite sure if that will be the final solution, but it looks like that getting a gear machined out of steel is going to be the way to go, and replacing the gears. And I will show that specific gear that I'm talking about, because I did a live stream of this stuff, taking it apart, so you can really see what's going on in there. So in terms of the next step for this project, I've been doing some testing on this stuff, so I know that both motors technically spin, but I can't. You can see here MG2 is connected up to my electric skateboard. I haven't been able to get clean spin on MG2 yet, but MG1 up in the front here, I can get perfectly clean, smooth power output, which is really awesome. Into the sensor port is our encoder sensor, and in BLDC with our sine cos encoder, we get perfect on off smooth starting every single time. Look at that shit, it's so smooth. So yeah, the next step is playing around with the inverter converter, and there will be a video coming soon on that, so I can explain that. The inverter converter is the brains of the whole project and connects up to this, connects to the battery, connects to the charger, all that stuff, and kind of ties everything in together. And the last step from there is batteries. Batteries is the hardest thing because I want to do this build cheaply. That's kind of one of my aims here. And getting cheap batteries is not easy, especially when you're buying them from overseas. Freight shipping kills. So we're just going to be kind of sitting on this project for now and working things out. I need to figure out how this fits into the engine bay of the laser, because the mounts in the laser aren't designed not only for this they're not designed for this transmission, they're also not designed for the weight of this transmission, as this one is quite a bit heavier than the old one. While the old one was cast iron and this is aluminum, the old one was quite a bit smaller. So I'm thinking maybe sometime next week we may actually take this back outside and, you know, maybe have a play around with trying to get this into position roughly and start figuring out mounting points and all that kind of stuff. If you guys do want to keep track of the live streams, make sure you are subscribed and that you've clicked the notification bell down below, because we all know how bad YouTube is with notifying subscribers. I also stream to Twitch, and not just car stuff. I'm also electric car stuff. I also stream games. I was playing Minecraft yesterday, play some COD, all kinds of stuff. So if you're interested in keeping up to date with what's going on, make sure to follow or subscribe depending on the platform. But anyway, this is enough for today on the Prius project, and make sure to look out for the next video that'll be coming very soon. Now